Hello and welcome to a new episode of PlanCo Spotlights. I'm your host today, SPRidley, and this is a flat ride scheme made by Andy P. UK 1980. I think I got that right. If not, it appears below. And it's called Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero vs. Scorpion. So it's a flat ride, an alien ring flat ride scheme. And as you can see, this was a special sent for me because of of course the design and the sculptures. As some of you will know that watch my videos, I usually like a lot making 3D sculpts and with the art shapes and signs and all that stuff. So of course that's right up my alley. Let's start first with the overview of the ride itself and tell what comes with the download in Andy P's workshop. And it's basically the ride with the helium ring attached to it already, and the two sculptures from Sub-Zero and Scorpion and the Sang. So the whole ride, it's something like 2,100 pieces, around those numbers. And all the trees you see and the pathing I've added for the guests to flow. It's just a little bit to make the video more natural. So that doesn't come with the safe. The safe, it only comes with the flat ride, and it's pretty easy to add. It has like a sign to where you need to sync it, and also some instructions of how to put your cues and paths. So it's pretty handy to read the description that Andy P put in the workshop about it. Something I really liked from the ride, and I want to show in more detail, it's the sign itself with the Mortal Kombat logo made with art shapes and the gingerbread icing and all that, and I think it looks really well done. I usually make it in a different way of how I use the art shapes, but I think for making the dragon, the bumpy type of I think that's the circles I think he used there, work pretty well, I think. Also something that it's usually really hard in this game because of how the signs with the font that PlanCo uses work, is that I actually liked how he added the Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero vs. Scorpion, because he added 3D. I think here there are like 4 different signs, and the Mortal Kombat one works excellent because it reminds you, like, it's not exactly the same as the font used in the game, but it reminds you, and I really like that with the sheriff type font and all that. And then the thing I absolutely love, I have to say, is the Sub-Zero and Scorpion names, because they really look like they are themed to Sub-Zero and Scorpion, and it's done with the fonts with the game, and sometimes it's really hard to theme something with those fonts, but I think that they look absolutely great. I think the Sub-Zero one is a pirate, but painted in blue and all that, looks like icy stuff, and the Scorpion with that lower P is really, it has this really Mortal Kombat feeling, I think, and I think it looks really well because I think it's from the Scary DLC, the Spooky DLC. But I think the sign looks absolutely amazing with the fire, also all the triggers with the fires and stuff. It looks really good. And before we go into the main event, that I think there are the characters of Sub-Zero and Scorpion from the ride, I think we need to look a little bit more in detail to the ride itself and its surroundings, because all the rocks and the spooky thorn vines and all that, I think they look absolutely amazing it gives this Mortal Kombat feeling. And I'm not a really big Mortal Kombat fan. I like the games, I've played some of them, not all, some of them only. I know there's been a lot of them, and I know of some of these characters, and like Scorpion and Sub-Zero are like the most famous ones, I think. They are like the Ryu and Ken of Mortal Kombat, and of course they're clones. And the scenery itself looks just like a Mortal Kombat stage. Just some details of the towers with the fire, that typical Mortal Kombat feeling of the rocks and this edgy theming. I don't know how to like spooky edgy theming some of the stages have, this dark gruesome thing with the blood all over the place because of the fatalities. And I think Andy P got the type of feeling of the video games perfectly captured in the ride. For example, the detailing in the towers is really cool. With there's some out of the box thinking here, like getting the gargoyle witch and just duplicating it so it looks like horns to give the tower this edgy, scary feeling of Mortal Kombat games. And I think Andy P captures perfectly, like amazingly perfectly, the feeling of the video games. Also, the ride looks absolutely gorgeous at night, with all the fire effects and the lava in the sign, the fake lava that we didn't have still because this was done before the adventure pack, and it's only using the spooky DLC. But with some orange signs, like with orange glow and a little bit of fire effects, it completely looks like if it was lava. And the lights using blue for Sub-Zero and yellow for Scorpion, it captures perfectly the feeling. It looks absolutely lovely at night, and it's something I really like. And now let's go to the main event of the ride itself, and that's the sculpts of Scorpion and Sub-Zero. And first of all, I want to say, I know people sometimes criticize the art shapes and people making sculpts out of art shapes because they say they tend to make the characters balloon-like, and that's only because it's really difficult to work with the art shapes and you need to get accustomed with. And what the sculptures that Andy P has done here, I don't think they look balloon-like. Maybe in some places, but I think they are hidden pretty well with making them look like muscles from the body, and even if they are not the right muscles sometimes. Or things like, for example, the jacket. I really love the detailing of the jacket with the bumpy feeling, because that's something that those jackets have in the real life video games. So at the end of the day, I think Andy P did an amazing job with them. Yeah, there's things that could be improved. For example, the fingers. Some of them look a little bit broken, like they are not in the direction they should be when you are attacking or whatever. Also, the heads are probably a little bit smaller than they should be for the size of this type of bodies. But apart from that, I think they're really detailed, really well made. Yes, it's easier working in these sizes. The thing is, I think the size that he's worked on not only makes it easier to make, but it also works excellent for the size of the Helion ring itself. The interaction with both attacks. Another amazing detail that I absolutely love is the ice attack and the hook shot from Scorpion. Another interesting thingy that the ice attack has from Sub-Zero is that it actually has like ice vapor and some ice effects that make it look really nice in daytime. It's just some details to give the sculpts more life, and I think they're great, Andy. I wanted to end this video with something really interesting that Andy P sent us with the ride, and it's that he told us that you could interchange Sub-Zero and Scorpion for other characters he actually made of Mortal Kombat that he has in his workshop in two packs. And I will leave the link of the 2 packs also in the description of this video, so you can do it. And what you can do is, for example, take out Scorpion and Sub-Zero and change them for Raiden and Kitana. So Kitana versus Mortal Kombat, Kitana versus Raiden, or Mortal Kombat Johnny Cage versus Baccarat, or anything like that. You change the lightning, and you have another new ride, another flat ride. Or you could just use the sculptures because they're really well made. Just use the sculptures in another ride or in your parks if you want to make like a video game themed park or something like that. As you can see, he has done a ton of characters. I think those all of these are from the classic games, Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 2. I don't think there's anyone from the newer ones, but as you can see, there's Kitana, Johnny Cage, Bakara, you have Lei Kang, Reptile, Jade, and they're pretty well done. Something, for example, I really like one of the details of Bakara. He used the carrots to make the teeth of Bakara, the super spiky teeth of Bakara. Or for example, something that I also really like is that Raiden has this lightning effect going from his hands, or there's blood dripping from Reptile's tongue, for example. Those are pretty cute details. Some improvements could maybe made. For example, maybe the breasts of the female characters. I know it's really easy to say, oh, breast, just make some 2 spheres and call it a day, but I think it needs to be work a little bit more. They look a little bit funny. I know they are pretty funny in some of the Mortal Kombat games because they are pretty sexually some of that, but I'm just talking about the shape and how they are joined with the body. Again, pretty difficult to make. It's not an easy thing to make body shapes with art shapes, so it's something that you just get better just by practicing and looking at real life sculptures and bodies and things. So anyone that wants to get to making some characters, I would recommend looking at some Google images for to get them right, like try to get the muscles right, things like that. I think that will improve how you make sculptures in the future. Also the eyes. I know the eyes worked really well for the male characters, but I think for the female characters are a little bit too detailed. I like that he tried to do the eyelashes, but I don't think the way he has done it makes them look that good. Of course, this is only some constructive criticisms. I think he did a great job with the characters. A lot of detail was put into them. Also, he has a ton of different cartoon characters and movie characters from other things that are not Mortal Kombat in his workshop. And I also invite everyone to look at them because they are really, really cool looking. And I think that's it for the episode today. Let me remind you can send your parks, your rides, your coasters, even fountain sculptures, whatever you are proud of, you can send us to PlanCo Spotlights. You have the links in the description to send us. I want to also thank Andy P for bringing to us this beautiful flat ride, Mortal Kombat flat ride. And of course, as always, I want to remind everyone that everything we do here at PlanCo Spotlights is dedicated to special effect, that it's a charity devoted to providing fun and inclusion for people with disabilities. And that's something very close to our hearts because we are also a gaming community, and I think bringing technology and games to disabled people is something really commendable. So I was your host, SPRidley, and I hope to see you in future PlanCo Spotlights. Goodbye!